becomes absorbent conducting polymers and OLEDs. And he was born on June 4, 1955. He took his BSc in 1976 and MSc in 1978 degrees from Mysore University. He passed his MSc examination with rank 1 and had got 5 gold medals. He got his PhD degree in 1982 from the Mysore University. He is a representative of Young Scientist Award 1983 of Karnataka Association of Advancement of Science. Over last 42 years of research career, he contributed substantially by publishing and presenting over 170 papers in reputed international and national journals and conferences. He has completed many R&D and consultancy project funds by DRO, ISRO, DST, UGC, and CSIR. He has delivered many keynote and invitation talks at international national conferences. He is a fellow and member of several professional bodies, including senior membership of IEEE USA, fellow of Institute of Electronics and Communication Engineers, and fellow of Institutions of Engineering and Technology, fellow of Instrument Society of India. He is a referee and reviewer of many international and national scientific journals, member of Joint Review Mission of the World Bank TEQIP project, and mentor and performance auditor of TEQIP funded institutions. Currently, he serves as a chairman expert member in the committee of MHRD, AICT, NBA, NAC, and UGC New Delhi. He is a member of selection committees of many NITs and universities. He has been serving as a chairman and member of council, governing council, senate, and academic council of university and institution. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind introduction. Yeah. So, am I ready to start or any other formalities?
It's Kalibin, sir. Can we go for one small photo session?
Sure, sure.
Yeah, I request all the participants switch on your video so that we can have a clear view of your pictures. Please switch on your video.
This is attendance. Otherwise, you're absent. Please, all of you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Can you mute your audio? Switch on your video, participants.
Shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very, very good afternoon. At the outset, I would like to thank the management, principal, deans, HODs, faculty members, student, staff, everybody from VELAMMAL. So VELAMMAL College is familiar to me. I had been there. So I'm so happy that, you got an AACT program to be conducted on this Zoom platform. So pandemic, but learning never stops. So I thought today, in the first day of your 5 or 6 days workshop, talk about the challenges in good learning and assessment. Because next, second day, third day, fourth day, people will go into the depth. I thought that I can give you a very broad perspective and bird's eye view, so that all of you are ready to go through. Not that it is new. It is all of you have been practicing the outcome-based education. Therefore, it is not very difficult for you. So I'm sure that this workshop, at the end of the day, you will bound to gain. Please do keep interacting if you require anything, or at the end, please do ask me some questions if certainly you have some doubts. So let me start always. I like all of you are teachers. Teacher is a very noble profession. Everyone will be produced only by the teacher, be it medical doctor, lawyers, or any walks of life, the person who groom them is a teacher. So I'm very happy that all of you have taken up this teaching job. The primary job of a teacher is teaching. But today, in this context, all of you know that we need to do a bit of research because
Excuse me, Professor.
the yes, please.
Uh,
Yeah.
make your screen full screen, Professor. Screen full F5. You can press F5.
Yes, is all right? Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, Professor. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So, the research itself shows a good teacher needs research, because research and teaching goes hand in hand. A good, research will lead to good teaching will lead to research. So therefore, the second important component of any teacher is a research. And third is mentoring. Of course, especially after COVID, this mentoring becomes more meaningful. Students are there, they don't have anything with them, but still you have to motivate them, you have to make them understand, send some certain note offline and so on. So mentoring is a very important component of a teacher. And as I already told you, I told you, the teacher is a reformer. He is the one who makes anybody reform. So all whom you produce, therefore, is very important. And teacher is definitely ethical. The little story, with the permission of all of you, it's nice to have one or two stories in between, so that otherwise it becomes very monotonous. All of you know Sir C.V. Raman. He was the first Nobel laureate, Asian in Asia, the first physics Nobel laureate, and he became the director of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore in 1933. First Indian have to become the director of IISc. Otherwise, all through it was only the Britishers. At the end of his tenure in IISc, he started his own research institute called Raman Research Institute, and he wanted to take 3 research assistants. So the applications were called, so many have applied, some shortlisting, everything was done, but finally they shortlisted 5 people for Sir C.V. Raman to interview. So Sir C.V. Raman interviewed all the 5 candidates, students, and selected the 3. At the end of the day, he was going out of the Raman Institute, and he saw a boy who attended the interview was walking very dejectedly. He stopped his car and asked him, "Why you are so dejected? Is it because you did not get selected in the interview?" He said, "No, sir. I was given a small travel grant, and the office person has given 15 paisa more. I went there to return the money, but I could not return as he has already left the office. So I don't know how to return." Sir C.V. Raman said, "It's all right. Are you in Bangalore? Can you come and meet me tomorrow?" Who doesn't like to meet the Sir C.V. Raman? So he went there, he called that person and settled the account. And he said, "You have failed in the physics interview, but you have passed in the honesty. So therefore, I am creating the 4th position. And then if you are interested, you can come and join me tomorrow." He joins, he does all the things with him. Later, he goes to America. Finally, he is the Nobel laureate. So he is none other than Professor S. Chandrasekhar, astrophysicist. So, but for his honesty, I don't know whether he would have become the Nobel laureate. So therefore, this is what is important for a teacher: integrity, ethics, and so on. And teacher should be a friend, philosopher, and guide. Take everybody, I think that is the best way to move on. Is my slide visible? Next slide to all of you.
Yes, sir.
One
Yes,
of you, please. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
So, continuing the role of a teacher, every teacher should have 3 qualities: humor, humility, and humanism. Even our Mahatma Gandhi said once that, "But for my humor, I would have got suicide long ago." So therefore, be smiling, keep smiling, and make others smile. That is important as a teacher. So because you are motivating large number of students. Humility is all about giving credit. Give credit wherever possible. So the one example that I remember is one of the chemists, Lippig, wanted to invent iodine. Before he could do that, Somebody else is invented, and he he praised him, and then he said, and also he congratulated him. But most of the people, no, I invented iodine, he got the Nobel Prize, and so on. He didn't do that. So this kind of a culture, I think a teacher should adopt. And humanism, whatever the little that we can do, I think we should, not necessarily money, even intellectually, anything that we can pass on to our student, we should be doing. So a teacher should benchmark himself, individual level, departmental level, and institute level. This is extremely important. This is what I want to achieve in the next 1 year or 3 years or 5 years. Another little story before I move to the today's topic. Think differently. All of us have to think differently today. Not that we were not thinking differently earlier, but now more so because of COVID. So the story goes like this. VELAMMAL management decided to call 5 great scientists for one of the international conference, a hypothetical story. So they are Aristotle, Newton, Einstein, Heisenberg, and Pauli. These are the great 5 people all of you know. So they all attended the conference at VELAMMAL, and the evening there was a dinner in the hotel. They were all strolling, walking around, and one of the journalists caught them in Chennai and asked a peculiar question. Normally, the journalists are peculiar. The question that he asked is, he saw suddenly a chicken was crossing the road. So spontaneously, he asked Aristotle why chicken is crossing the road. Aristotle said that is the nature of the chicken, because his research is all about understanding the nature. Then came the turn of our Newton. Newton said, if chicken is at rest, it will be at rest. If chicken is moving with velocity v, then he started deriving F equal to ma. So the next is our great man Einstein. So when Einstein was asked this question, he said, I don't know whether chicken has crossed the road or road crossed beneath the chicken, depends on frame of reference. Fixed frame, moving frame, relativity. So the beauty is the question is same, but the answer that each one is giving is different. The fourth one was our turn of great quantum physicist Heisenberg. He said, chicken was moving at a very high velocity I could not measure accurately. All of you know the uncertainty principle. No two parameters can be measured accurately. So lastly, Pauli, he said, no, chicken has not crossed the road. There is already a chicken on the other side. Because all of us know little chemistry where no two electron can occupy the same energy state. So therefore, he thinks no two chicken can be on one side of the road. So this little story I told you to motivate all of you, because in the outcome-based education, we all have to think definitely differently. So therefore, my role model, as I always, is Einstein. One little story I tell you about him. He said E equal to mc square. All of you know. But he challenged one in one day that can you explain E equal to mc square for LKG student? And none of them came forward. But Einstein said it is easy to explain this E equal to mc square even for first standard or LKG student. He said, children, all of you know the alphabets. The fifth alphabet is in E, which is nothing but energy. All of you get energy from two other alphabets. One is M, which is nothing but, if you say mass, they don't understand. He says it is milk. Drink milk, you get energy. And further he says there is one more alphabet called C, third letter, which is nothing but chocolate. Square they don't understand. So eat lot of chocolates, drink lot of milk, you get energy. All the children of the LKG understood E equal to mc square. So this is the beauty of a teacher. You just have to make the concepts very clear to everybody. So again is a teacher. He conducted an exam one day. The paper valuation is over, and the student went to Einstein. Sir, first question at 10 marks, I wrote the correct answer. You gave me 0 marks. So Einstein said, why do you say so? Sir, this question was repeated from last year. My senior wrote the answer, he got 10 out of 10, and I took his notes and verbatim, I wrote the same answer, and today I got 0. Yeah, what you say is true. The question that I asked last year, the question that I asked this year, both are same. The answer that your senior wrote was the answer for that question last year. But today, the answer has changed. Science has changed last 1 year. So therefore, I gave you 0. So this, the technology, science, everything is going very fast. So therefore, we have to keep abreast with curriculum development and so on. So the reputation story I will tell you at the end. Some of you should make me remember. So one of the Nobel laureate came to Indian Institute of Science about 3 years ago. At the beginning, he's a biologist, and there are thousands of people of all walks of life, scientists, engineers, art, science, public, everybody was there, political science people, arts, science. So he want to make it very clear in the beginning that my talk consists of 3 parts. Part 1, all of you understand. Part 2, some of you understand. Part 3, none of you understand. So because it becomes so technical as he go along. So therefore, so he was very simple language that he was using. I will assure all of you that all of you understand whatever I speak today. So I will spend a minute about science, engineering, and technology, maybe another 2-3 minutes on education 4.0, industry 4.0, and today I talk to you about the challenge of good learning. And the learning doesn't end only by mere lecturing. You need virtual labs, online examination, technology. So possibly I will try to give you so I'm not trying to read all these things except to say that all of you know who the scientists are, who the engineers are, who the technologists are. The example that I like to give you is a car. The car will not come onto the road unless the scientists understand the basic principle behind the braking system, air conditioning, and so on. The engineers finally design and go to the drawing board, and technologists will bring the car. So therefore, why I'm saying this, everybody is important. Scientists are important, engineers are important, and engineering technologists are also important. So generally, people say scientists won't read and engineers won't write. But teachers have to read and have to write. Without doing that, you cannot do it. So COVID, all of you know, but my definition of the COVID is slightly different. COVID, I want to say to all of you that C for create, O for opportunity, V for victory, I for in, D for disaster. So therefore, COVID has given us the opportunity for victory in disaster. So we have been going through, the teaching has become tough, online teaching, and things like that. Let me say a few things about that as you go along. So all of you are very familiar with the 2 words, BC and AC, before Christ and after Christ. But before March, I want to call it as before Corona, and after March, this I would like to call it as after Corona. So as I promised, let me tell a minute about education 4.0. All of you know about 30-40 years ago, the lecturing was mere mere lecturing, and also memorization was the order of the day. That is what we call it as teacher centric. Teacher used to teach whatever he likes. He used to whatever the question he wants, he used to evaluate and give the grade. Then if all of you can, if you mute, it will be wonderful. There won't be any disturbance. So in 90s, internet came into being. So therefore, education has changed to 2.0, internet-enabled learning. Learning has started through internet with open source. Then people realize quickly that if you need anything meaningful, education should lead to knowledge. So therefore, in education 3.0, the knowledge producing education came into being. And today, the knowledge alone, as all of you know, will not take us anywhere. You need knowledge, you need skill, and you need attitude. So therefore, you need an innovation. Whatever you do, you have to be innovative, teaching, learning, doing experiments, doing research. So therefore, today, the expectation from all of us is you have to be very innovative. So the way the education has moved from 1.0 to 4.0, the industry also has moved from 1.0 to 4.0. So if you go back to the 18th century, so industry revolution, we call it as 1.0, where we used to produce a machine which are either powered by water or steam, very primitive ones. Later in 20th century, after the World War, we started seeing industrial revolution where the railway engines and the track and so on. But later, the electronics and IT has revolutionized and made all these things. Autonomous production has started. Everything is automatic. If you want to book a ticket in air, you can do at home. You don't have to go to railway station to book a ticket. Possibly you don't have to even go to bank now to draw the money. There are ATMs. If there is money in your account, you can always draw wherever you are with the machine. So this is automation took place. But today in industry 4.0, it's all based on cyber physical system. IoTs, Internet of Things, everything can get connected with the internet. So at the end, possibly I will try and. So why I showed you these two slides, because the education that we do, the graduates whom we groom, they should be able to adapt themselves in the industry 4.0. So AICT, since all of you know, I will spend only 1 minute on this. You know that there are mandates of AICTE. One is induction program. The students whom they join, you have to tell them about what is engineering, how do you do, why do you do, what are your opportunities, and so on. And always we think the induction program is for the student alone, but I would think that even faculty requires induction program. I would call it this next 4 or 5 days program on these wonderful program that you have drawn itself is an induction to all the faculties. Seniors will refresh and young faculties will always learn. Revision of curriculum is going to be the order of the day, because all of you know the new education policy has come, and so therefore probably new education is important. Maybe sometime, if all of you like it, I'll give a talk on new education policy. What is that VELAMMAL can do? Training of the faculty is extremely important in the today's context. So therefore, you have all platforms, Swayam too. So that I will talk about little later. Mandatory internship for student. I would even go and say one step. Even teacher need to go once a year, 1 week to any industry of their choice, so that they also learn some industrial problem to give to us, their student, be it a PhD student or MTech student or BTech. So industry readiness will come only by both faculty and teachers involved in this. Examination reforms and online. All of you know that we have already got into a system where examinations are online, and the lot of reforms that are taking place. Promoting innovation and startup is important. So in the next talk, if I am permitted to speak to all the faculties of the available, I am going to tell the model where you can even implement the NEP and become in next 5 years a degree giving institute. Because in the NEP, the primary VELAMMAL cannot continue as a college. The affiliation system will go. You need to mature yourself to reach a stage where you can give a degree. So therefore, in the next 5 years, definitely the ingredients that you have, the accreditation process that you have, I'm sure that you are capable of reaching that. And finally, accreditation, which all of you know how important it is, and all of you have been working on it. And accreditation, last one word, it is continuous. Now we are accredited, we can sleep, and then we'll worry only about when they come after 3 years or 6 years. So anything that you want to do, you need a good start. In a Olympic, if you want to run, win 100-meter swimming race, even if you are delayed by 0.1 second, you lose the medal. So therefore, how to plan the teaching, a course, how can get off to a good start is very, very important in outcome-based education. So a quote of C.V. Raman, he said long ago about the quality of education. I quote him, students of today are being taught by the teachers of yesterday with the curriculum which is of day before yesterday. It is like a refrigerator. We prepare some sambar, rasam, keep it, keep on, go to another device which is there next to that is oven, heat it up and eat. That may not be good. So you need to be abreast. Teachers have to be, cope up with this. Curriculum also have to be done. This is said long ago, which is very, very important in today's context. So I said that my talk is going to be on learning. What is the good learning and what is the challenges in good learning? So learning is all right, but what is important is if you lecture for an hour, at the end of it, do you think all the students would have learnt it? Absolutely no. So therefore, what is important is retention. So one of the research says in the learning pyramid, if a mere lecturing, if you do for 1 hour, only the student will gain about 5% in hearing your lecture. They have to supplement with various other things. So the first thing that they should do is whatever they learned in the class, they need to read it. So when you read, the research says 10% is retained. So then you have to go for audiovisual, which will enhance the retention to 20%. Demonstration. This is all about engineering, you know that. So therefore, anything that concept that we learn and we understand, we need to demonstrate. So by that, we get about 30% retention. Group discussion, very, very important. That will enhance the retention to 50%. Practice by doing. This is where laboratories that we do, internship, project, all these things will enhance their retention and of the engineering up to 75%. So finally, teaching others, the peer mentoring, peer, students also have to motivate some, you have to, identify by the time they come to second year of their UG program, who is good, who is a fast learner, who is a slow learner, try to peer group, which I will talk about it later. So 90%. So by this, you quickly understand that mere lecturing alone will not help in engineering. So what is engineering then? According to me, the engineer should have four qualities. One is, the four important characteristics. One is, as an engineer, engineering, as all of you know, is for learning. Anything that we do, education is for learning. So learning is first part of the engineering. The second one is engineering is for doing. Doing is a practice, project, practical, exam, all these things are very important, the coding, everything. So in engineering, if you go back before 1950, there was no concept of the practical or project, for instance. So the practice came in 1950. Two of the undergraduate students in Japan, they invented a gun diode while they are doing their BTech. So therefore, innovation can be there with our student. So this concept of project came in the last 50, 60 years. So, project should not be mere, joining four of them, do something, get their marks. Something should come out of it, which I possibly tell you maybe at the end, 2-3 minutes. And engineering is for living. There should be a proud, I'm a proud alumni of VELAMMAL. Self-esteem. I graduated, I learned, I am there today here because of VELAMMAL. That kind of a alma mater that issue. Engineering is for society. Whatever the little that we can contribute back to society intellectually. See, today I'm proud that I'm giving back whatever last 40 years of my experience to all of you. So it could be, Sir Sivira, you know Visheshwaraya. He is a great civil engineer. And today we are all good because of the kind of thing that he has done, dams that he has built and so on. So we should always try to give back to the society. So outcome-based education, all of you know, but I will not spend more than 2-3 minutes just to tell you that anything that you want to, I already told you that each one of you should have benchmark yourself. Department should benchmark, program, and also institution. So therefore, there is a vision for VELAMMAL College of Engineering. So India has a vision for that matter. America has a vision. NASA has a vision. ISRO has a vision. All of you are proud. 2 years ago, ISRO has sent 104 satellites in one vehicle from Sriharikota, of which 96 happened to be from USA. That is great India, So therefore, we are in nuclear club, space club, and we have gone to Mars without a failure. The others have gone, but we have gone right there up to Mars without failure. That is important, That is where, so therefore, an institution vision is very important. All of you should move towards that. Vision, is a very broadest statement. So therefore, to achieve the vision, you need mission. So these missions are always, again, the mission could be as simple as I want to part the good teaching, good research, good entrepreneurship. If you do that, your vision is I want to become the top 10 colleges in Tamil Nadu. It's all possible. So therefore, missions are broader statement, and the broad statements are PEO. So an institution cannot achieve unless each department, they have UG program, PG program, and so on. They should have some objective, program, educational objective. So these are also again broadest to broader to broadest. So therefore, we need to have some specific statement. We call it as program outcome. So let us say if you have an UG program of civil engineering, they should have some outcome. So the Government of India, MHRD, they have created one forum for this accreditation called National Board of Accreditation. They have come out with 12 graduate attributes or program output, which are common to all the program. But in addition to that, each program should have 2 to 3 program specific outcome. So these are all will be dealt in very greater detail from tomorrow, day after, and so on. So therefore, I am trying to give you in the nutshell. So again, this program specific outcome or program outcome, if you want to achieve, you have to go to the course level, theory, practical, any activity that you do. These are called course outcome. So therefore, each course should have outcome. Possibly, I'll spend 2-3 minutes later, some 5 minutes about making you clear some of the misconception that you have about this. Because I have gone across the country for about 100 accreditation, there is still faculties, understanding differently. So again, only 2 minutes because all of you are very, very familiar, but this should be in your the program outcome are graduate attributes. In other countries, they call it, there are 12 graduate attributes, of which I have intentionally put 5 of them in red color because they have 5 pillars. Engineering knowledge. Without that, I told you, without science, there is no engineering. Without science and engineering, there is no technology. Engineering, first year, physics, chemistry, mathematics, and all other allied subject that they study, drawing, very important, that lead to the engineering knowledge. So therefore, the second important attribute, graduate attribute, is analysis. As an engineer, analyze the problem. And you should be able to design and develop the solutions. Find a solution. Development of solution is very important. And fourth one, investigation of the complex problem. So always I give an example of a computer science where I know C language, I write a program to find out the area of the circle. That will not give you a job. That's very, so you need to take up some complex problem, case studies, that is what we should all embark in our good learning, which is, I'm going to talk to you shortly. Modern tool, not that a college like VELAMMAL can have everything in your place. Even IIT Madras cannot have everything in their place. You need to augment with modern tools by industry visit, by internship, going to the other institutions. So these 5 are 5 pillars. In addition to these, 7 more graduate attributes, namely engineering and society. There may not be any formal course in which we teach, but this project that we give could be on the societal problem. India has got, agriculture. Then we have problem issues with health and so on. So some societal problem you can give as a project. Environment and sustainability. Today is all about sustainable technology we talk. So therefore, again, there may not be a course directly, but the kind of project, mini project, the kind of assignment that you give, the major project that they do, they can do. Ethics, I already told you, you need not even. As a teacher, I should go at the dot. I should leave the class on dot. Again, after that is a good practice. So you can be a role model to the student. Individual and teamwork, extremely important. Not that again there is a course. Individually, how they do, and teamwork, how they do, is best is to project where 4 of them join. Individually, what they contribute, as a team, what they contribute, you can always assess. Communication, very important. Soft skill, what we call of the soft skill, technical skill, managerial skill, time management, and so on, and even communication skill is important. See, if you go to city, they don't know anything, but they speak and get over. But if you go to village, they know the basic concepts, but finally they will not be have a capable. So therefore, I urge all the teachers, see that in the 4 years of their graduation, everybody learns communication skill. That's very important. Project management and finance, because any product that we do, if I claim that it's a low cost, how do I claim? So therefore, a little economics is required, project management is required. Lifelong learning. This is something, after 4 years, wherever they go, whatever the job they take up, they should remember VELAMMAL College of Engineering. So therefore, these are the 12 graduate attributes that. So coming back to today's learning, how do we enhance the learning? If you take a triangle, there are 3 corners. So therefore, there are 3 important components in the enhanced learning. One is instructional strategy. The way what I teach, as a teacher, I must tell in the beginning what my lesson plan. In this class, I'm going to teach this. So the best practice that I can say to all of you is, when you go to your class, first 2 minutes, you please tell and tell in 1 minute what you are going to cover today. At the end of the last 2 minutes, sum up 1 minute what you have done today, and then tell them tomorrow I'm going to take up this. So this practice of 2.5 minutes, in the T20 match, you have seen two strategy time over 6 to 9. Batting side can take from 13 to 16, bowling side can take. In this 2.5 minutes, they strategize how to game it. So the 5 minutes of your 60-minute lecture, keep it for these things. This certainly will help your personality, and also the student will be more. So therefore, you should have a strategy. I will try to give you some of the strategy that you can adopt as you go along. And second important is teaching will not the end of the road. You need to assessment tools, which I will speak about to you in shortly. That is important. That is like our second corner of the triangle. The third important component of this enhanced learning is outcome. Simple example: output, outcome. Under student joins, 100 of them pass, 100 of them get placement is output. Outcome is how many of them are employable, how many of them are in good company, core company. Employability is outcome. Placement, some job, call center, 20,000, 15,000 salary is out, placements, all right. But outcome is important. Employability of the country in the engineering, all of you know, is about 25%. We need to increase that in years to come. So outcome is very, very important. So now let us define what is learning. Learning is all about acquiring the new knowledge, new behavior, new skill, new values, and new understanding. So then what is good learning? Good learning takes place when learners are very clear about what they should be able to do at the end of unit learning. At the end of the class, what I learned. At the end of the first unit, what did I learn? At the end of the semester, what did I learn? At the end of the first year, what did I learn? So this is a continuous process. This is what we call it as outcome. All of you have seen in the previous slide, there is a course, there is an outcome. Each course should have an outcome that should lead to the program outcome. So again, so the last line is very important: alignment among the instruction, assessment, and outcome. So I will be speaking to you, further only on these things. So let me go in the other direction. Outcome. Let us understand what is outcome is. An outcome is what a learner will be able to do or perform as with some experience that you gain. So I will not go into the detail because all of you know very, very clearly by now that learning takes place in 3 different domains. First, this is what who said? Bloom, Benjamin Bloom, which we cannot forget. With this huge research of 30 years, in 1955, he said learning takes place in 3 domains, namely cognitive domain, affective domain, psychomotor. So by now, all of you know, engineering, most of it comes under cognitive domain. What he said further in cognitive domain is the learning takes place in 6 levels in cognitive. The first level, he called it as Bloom level 1, B1, remember, B2, understand, B3, apply, B4, analyze, B5, evaluate, B6, create. Not that every course that you teach, you can have all these levels of Bloom. Say, for instance, first year, when you are teaching, you need to tell about the concept. The first law of thermodynamics, students have to remember. So this comes under the Bloom level 1. It is not enough if you remember the concept. You need to explain the concept. That happens in the second level of the Bloom, which they call it as understand. And having remembered, having understood, in engineering, we need to apply for a new situation. So that is the third Bloom level. So having remembered and understood, apply, as an engineer, we need to analyze. That is one of the prime attribute, graduate attribute. So the student, therefore, they should connect the new ideas and things like that. And finally, the next 5th stage, you have to be ready for evaluation. That is, if you design something, you should justify. You take a decision on something, you should. So this is what we call it as an evaluation level. And the 6th Bloom level is produce new and original work. Not that a class that I teach, I can be creating. So the project that we give, possibly, if not all the project in a 60 class of 15 project of 4 students, at least 3, 4, 5 can be of higher rank where the student can take up a challenge. So creativity. So as you can see from this, wherever I go for accreditation, I see my syllabus has got 6 units. First unit, I write the first Bloom level. Second unit, Bloom level. Third unit, Bloom 3. Sixth unit, Bloom. It is not fair. It is not correct. The physics that they teach in the first year cannot have create, evaluate, analyze. So what I'm trying to say is some subjects, if you go to higher studies, you need to, so you have to balance when you are writing your CO. Possibly I will try and give one example for 3-4 minutes so that the things will be very clearer to you, so that before you move on to the further down in this from tomorrow onwards. So the learning should promote something. Otherwise, we say, when do we say the learning is promoted? The learners are engaged in the session with the real world problem. So anything that we do in engineering has got application in space program or atomic energy or medical, anything. So please, as much as possible, anything that you teach, try to tell them where the application is. That is very important. So real-time examples that you should give, case studies you should take, and then teach. Also we call the learning is promoted when the existing knowledge is activated with the foundation of the new knowledge. So some new knowledge. Suppose you teach a subject this year, and then you are teaching the same subject next year. I think there should be an incremental of 1, 2, 3, 4% in change the learning. So therefore, the existing knowledge should activate. That's not the end of the road. The new knowledge should be demonstrated. That is important in the engineering to the learner. That is where you do practicals. There you do, give some assignments. You also do the project, mini projects, and so on. This new knowledge is applied by the learner. That is where projects, these whatever they learn. Nobody expects in a BTech project a Nobel Prize winning project. Whatever they understand in the whole 4 years of BTech, if they can implement something and make it work, that is all. So new knowledge is integrated in the learner's world. So I skip this, and now I showed you the triangle where the first triangle is strategy, learning strategy. I shall try to give you some 3, 4, 5 of my thing which all of you have been practicing, and which will be dealt in greater detail from tomorrow onwards. In engineering, the learning is based on problem. Problem-based learning is what you have to observe. Project-based learning is another concept that you should adopt while teaching. Hands-on learning, as a teacher, last 5 years, I'm teaching this course. I gained a lot of things. I must pass on to my students. Anything that I have learned, I should not keep it within myself. That is also, we call it as experiential learning. So we have to gain every time, that is called outcome-based education. When I was there 40 years ago, my teacher lost the notes. I think one page of the notes, he fell down while coming to the class, and he canceled the class. Because that, he could not even recollect what to teach in the class. So that is not me, I'm not blaming my teacher, but he's of that type. I have great teachers also. Teachers who taught me, fantastic thing. Therefore, I am today like this. So there are great teachers. So I think, I want all of you to become the great teachers. Internship experience. I told you in the beginning, teachers, this internship experience, that's why you should go to industry once in a week of your own interest, learn something, interact with them, call them here, give a lecture, whatever the way you think that you gain experience from the industry internship as a teacher will be very useful. And today, all of you know, we use a concept called flipped classroom. Everything in the syllabus, you should not teach, if you ask me. You should leave something to the student also to learn in term by giving assignment, by other methods which I will talk about in the next slide. So flipped classroom is, the concept is simple. Everything need not happen in 10 to 5. So after 5 they can learn. Saturday they can learn. Sunday they can learn. This is called flipped classroom, normal classroom and outside the classroom. Blended learning, online, offline. All of you know today we got used to this online. Technology cannot replace teacher. Teacher have to learn the technology. That will help, certainly. So blended is combination of this. Even after COVID, when they come back, you can have a big mix of the online, offline things. And MOOCs and SWAYAM platforms are there. Coursera is there, which are they giving lot of things free of cost. In addition to this project, problem-based, project-based, experiential-based, blended more, co-curricular activities are important. The tech fest that they do, they learn team effort. They present the paper, quiz, and so on. So therefore, the co-curricular experience also is very important. Please give them, if they want to conduct one tech fest in the area, you please give them topic where they can also go and present. So that also you should imbibe, because some of the graduate attributes can be through the co-curricular. The one important thing that I want to introduce here, IIT Bombay, which they do, they take a student of the 3rd and 4th year who got an aptitude for teaching and they are good learners. They will become mentors to the 1st year and 2nd year. They will be given 1 or 2 students where they can, slow learners will become. So this is called peer instruction or peer mentoring. Very important. If you can adopt that in your institution, I'll be happy. So what you do again, this is from senior to junior. But the other concept that I can give you is, within the class, like-minded student, 4 of them, one who is a good learner, one is a medium, and one is a lower, they can pair themselves, they can share their idea, and they can think together. This is called think, pair, and share among the peers, among the same 1st year student, 2nd year. So this is what we call it in general as active and cooperative learning. So therefore, these 3, 4 like-minded, they will learn with a cooperative learning. So therefore, what I tried to do in the last 2 slides, to give you some of the strategies: problem-based, project-based, MOOC-based, experiential-based, internship-based, co-curricular-based, active and cooperative learning. These last 3, what I said, is definitely peers, student versus student. So since I want to put you in the right perspective for tomorrow and day after, let me give one example for course outcome. Very, very important. So I take an example of computer science. The course is data structure. One of the teacher has written the course outcome like this. So the course outcome is, there is an objective associated with that course, why they learn, and then what is the outcome at the end of the course, what they learn. So then the teacher writes like this: CO1. The course outcome 1 says comprehend. Comprehend means understand. That is 2nd Bloom level. Understand different operations on various data structure like arrays, stack, queues, and trees. This is true for all the subjects, that you civil, mechanical, electrical. Second, he wants to write the course outcome by using the 3rd Bloom level, apply. Apply the linear data structure and non-linear data structure for solving X dash dash dash. He writes. The 3rd one, he wants to go to higher Bloom level, analyze. So analyze the usage of basic data structure, linked list, etc., etc. So CO4, 4th one, he writes, wonderful teacher, conduct experiment to implement the stack, queues, list. What he does, in addition to the practical exam, practical, he will generate some of the things for self-study and then gives some problem to them to conduct experiment beyond. That is a wonderful, that is where he wants to, this is where the modern tools, etc., that you talk can be mapped. Because finally, you have to map the course outcome with the program outcome. If they nicely match, the program outcome lead to program educational object. If that is successful, your mission is successful. If your mission is successful, you are going towards the vision. So therefore, that is very important. 5th one is again intelligent teacher. He writes, make effective oral communication on advanced topic. What? He gives some topics and then he sits and then listen to them maybe once a week for half an hour. So this is where the student communication. You have seen one of the graduate attributes. So therefore, you can teach by English teacher for communication, speaking, but you can try to do technically in your course also. You can bring some of these. That's the beauty of the outcome, that you can write. So I'm sure that most of you must be doing, and those who are not yet adopted this kind of a thing, possibly it will be very useful. The last course outcome that he writes is on design. Very important for engineers, all of one of the graduate attributes. So design solution for application. He gives some applications and asks them to design the appropriate data structure. So this is a typical course outcome of a data structure course that one teacher teaches in computer science. I'll come back to the the mapping little later after 5 minutes. Now I move to the second part of my triangle, which is assessment. So I gave you till now some strategies for your teaching, learning. I mean, a teacher is a learner basically. So therefore, let me go to the next part, assessment, the second corner of the triangle. Assessment is a measure of performance. Wherever I go, I ask teachers, is there any difference between assessment and evaluation? Most of the time, everybody says they are same. Definitely they are not, because evaluation is the interpretation of the assessment. So assessment tool is a measure of performance. Suppose I teach one unit and I want to find out whether they have learnt or not, I conduct my first test. That is an assessment tool. I do some quiz. That's an assessment tool. I give some assignment. That's not. So they are all assessment tool. Finally, 10 marks for this, 15, etc., etc. I then do evaluation. Out of 100, how much you got? Then I grade them. That is called evaluation. So that is the difference between the assessment and evaluation. Assessment naturally drives the student learning. If there are no assessment, nobody will learn. All of you know, in your autonomous system, if you say audit course, nobody takes seriously. That's why AICT has introduced course called mandatory learning course. They will not be used for the calculation of the CGPA, but they need to be passed. No continuous evaluation. One final exam. If you score out of 50 and above, it comes in the transcript. Your marks card says he has completed this course. If you don't complete, you don't get degree. This we call it as MLC, not member of legislation council, mandatory learning course. So these are all the ways by which you can. So therefore, you need to. Now, having said about assessment, and there are two types of assessment, as all of you must be familiar. One is formative assessment. Second one is summative assessment. Formative is like continuous test, assignment, quiz, etc. Then the summative is the one which you conduct at the end, 3 hours. So now you realize in the new education policy, they want to go, mostly towards the formative, because we should not test the student at the end of the whole year in 3 hours. For some reason, if he could not do well, he is not a good student, is unfair. So that's not an outcome. So therefore, I'm sure that in the next 4 or 5 days, in detail, they will deal. But I want to talk two parameters when you are talking about assessment. One is validity. If I give a answer book to 5 teachers within experimental error, we call it, they should all get, one fellow is giving 10 out of 10, another fellow is 10 or 6, is not a good. So therefore, any question paper that you set, you write a scheme. 5 marks. If you write, student writes this, you will get 1 mark. If you write this, you get 3 marks, 2 marks, 1 mark. So this is scheme. So if you follow this scheme, the student, the validity is. So therefore, the degree to which the assessment measures is so it is very important. Validity is important. Otherwise, student will be a loser. Reliability. GRE exam, they use multiple questions, but they are of different type. Multiple. Next slide, I will explain to you why the GRE scores are valid for 5 years across the globe. So now, let's say a question paper is important. Again, there will be a session for you. Question paper setting is an art. As a teacher, you must set a question paper where an average student should be able to score 40, 50 marks. Next level, students should get 50, 60, 70. A question paper where everything is easy and everybody answers, that's not a good question paper. That's not outcome. And I set a question paper where everybody fails is not a good question paper. So how do we make this question paper complex? Bloom level, all of you know, remember, understand, apply, analyze, and so on. I give one example. Take, for example, the example that I like to give you is not from engineering. So all of you know Tamil Nadu. What is the capital of Tamil Nadu? If you give a question, 1 mark, everybody writes Chennai and get marks. Now, as an intelligent teacher, he wants to same Bloom level of remembering, but he wants to make it more complex. What he does is, India has got 30 states. he gives a question, what are the capitals of 30 states of India? Blue level is same, but now students have to remember 30 different capitals. So this is how you can make your question paper in engineering complex. So I told you that a course that you teach decides a year semester will have more on apply and higher Bloom level and less on the, in the beginning of first year student, there will be a lower level, Bloom level will be high and high priority and so on. So this a teacher should. So therefore COs are not written for life. COs are not written for 5 years. All of you know CO you can even look at it every semester. PO you can look at it once in 2 years. PSO POs you can look at it once in 4 years. Vision you can look at it once in 10 years. So you have to write down the procedure in which you do when accreditation people come. It's not for satisfy them, it is for you to follow. So question bank, online exam, I told you. So therefore, to prepare quiz assignment exam, you need to make a question bank. There are tools available today. So I would think that in the next 2-3 years, a VELAMMAL can generate a good question bank where the questions will not get repeated, because I keep adding these questions. So there are technologies for this assessment. I told you that the, I told you that GRE is very, very valid. Why? Scores are valid. GATE exam scores are valid for 2-3 years. Because if you go to GRE, they use MSQ, multiple selection question. There are questions where the, in the multiple choice, there is only one answer, 3 are wrong answer. But in the MSQ, there are questions where all 4 answers are right. There are questions where 2 answers are right. There are questions where 3 answers are right. There are questions none of the answers are right. This is the beauty of setting the question paper. That is where this GRE and all that will achieve those kind of a thing. That I think we must ensure. Now, having said about the strategies, having said about what to write a POs, COs, now important is it is not enough if you write CO, you have to attain. How do we do it? I take the same example of your data structure. There are 6 COs in the first column, and Bloom level you can see in the second. First one is understanding level, second one is understanding. The rest of them is apply. So what this teacher does is he has got 6 assessment tools. Test 1, test 2 for 15 marks each, quiz 1, quiz 2 for 5 marks each, assignment 1, assignment 2 for 5 marks each. So what he does is at the end of maybe 2 weeks of class, he conducts the first test and he gives you in the 15 marks 3 questions, one on CO1, second one on CO2, and third on CO3. 5 marks, 1. The first one is an understanding, second one is understanding. He goes on and conduct the second test maybe after, let us say, 2.5 months, 3 months. That is for again 15 marks. He wants to test the student on CO4, CO5. CO4, 7 marks. What he does is, one part he will want to know students have understood. That is for understanding level, he gives question for 2 marks and application level, apply for 5 marks. Same way on CO5, 2 marks for understanding, 6 for application. So in the beginning, after a week or 10 days, you will conduct one quiz. Quiz all of you know in the remembering level only. So therefore, CO1 and CO2, you will conduct one first quiz. And at the end of the course, you would conduct the second quiz for another 5 marks. Not on CO1, CO2, it is on the CO5 and CO6. While teaching this course, he does in the midway one assignment for 5 marks on CO2, CO3, and CO4. On remembering and understanding level. Assignments also cannot be on the creative application and so on, because it's only 5 marks. And last assignment that he gives at the end for CO5 and CO6. So you can see from this, virtually is covered from day 1 to the end of the 4 months of a semester. He has used 6 tools. These tools can vary. You can change if you want other things, you can always add depending upon the course that you teach. There's a teacher I've seen in America where he doesn't do test, he doesn't do quiz, doesn't do assignment. He will say, I will interview next week and this is my rubrics. I'll talk about that little later because that's very important. So this is what the philosophy. So final exam also, you can say methodology, you can for 100 marks, you can see an example here. you have this, 20, 20, 10 marks, 10 marks, 20, 20, 20, 20. So about T6, about 100 marks question that you can give. So this leads to me to talk about what we call it as rubrics. Whatever I spoke so far, schemes that you write is valid for your theory course, practical course, and so on. But when you do internship, when you do project, these things doesn't work. It becomes very, very qualitative. So therefore, you need another assessment tool called rubrics, which is a tool. Of course, before that, let me say that all of us are very familiar in a course that lecture, theory, and practical. But today in the outcome-based education, you can introduce one more called self-learning. I told you that everything you don't have to teach. Certain things you can ask them to learn in a group or individually. You can give one credit for that. So this is another beauty that you can introduce in the curriculum development when you are doing in your board of studies and academic council. So therefore, this this little effort you have to put. I just give an example. Let's say I take an example of a project. Let's say that a project has got 10 futures. Each future, assuming 5 marks, for 50 marks, you have to evaluate a project. So the future one, I said it is 5 marks. What you have to do for fairness and quality, you need to say, when will student get 5 out of 5? When will he get 3? When will he get 1? And so on. This is the philosophy behind the rubrics. So if you do project evaluation with schemes, 100 marks, it becomes very unfair to the student. So therefore, rubrics, which I will illustrate to you in the next slide. So the 5 you can call it as excellent, very good, good, fair, poor, and so on. So take the project, as all of you know, it has got different components. The first important component of any project is a problem definition. So what I do is I just allot about 5 marks for that and then write a rubrics. And literature survey is a very important component for that, to define their research problem. That will have another 5. Methodology is very important. Therefore, I put about 10 marks out of 50, 20% weightage. And the project could be of design. There will be 8 marks. The project has to be tested after designing. We will have 5. Presentation will be there. Technical writing, teamwork, ethics, society, environment. The last 2 depending upon the type of project. So therefore, the project can be segregated: design project, simulation project, application projects, and so on. So in the beginning, I tell you, all the faculty in the department can sit together and do this. But after that, it becomes very easy. For each of you can take it, a rubrics writing. So what I try and do in the next slide is, I will take an example of the data structure and give you some confidence how to write it, some clues how to write it, rubrics. Say, for example, in the rubrics, I told you the first one is approach to the problem, or problem definition. So I will write my rubric like this: implement the most appropriate data structure, accurate and optimized. The student will get 5 out of 5. If a student implement the data structure with correct logic, but it may not be optimized, you will get 4. And a student will implement the appropriate data structure, which is neither accurate or optimized, you get 2, and so on. So therefore, in each subject that you teach, a project, you should write down this and tell the student in advance. That motivates them to do good project. So the second one is correctness. The testing phase. I told you 1 parameter test. They write the codes. It has to be tested. If a student algorithm works for all the cases, he gets 5 out of 5, which is called excellent. If algorithm works for 75% of the cases, these are all numerical, but you can find out as a teacher, you know how to. So you will get 4. If it is incorrect, you get 1 mark, and if it is 50% of the case that it works, then you will get 2. And if you go to the last one, report writing is very important. Technical reading and writing. If content is good, if all the good references is given, format is good, everything is good, give 5 out of 5. But all are good, but some formats and other things are not good, give 4. So you define what their terms are and tell them, and then accordingly you evaluate. Then this evaluation becomes more meaningful. So I hope by till now, what I try to tell you is what is the way we learn, what are the strategy that we can use for learning, what are the assessment tool that we use, and how it nicely leads to the outcome, whether it's a course outcome or a lab outcome or a seminar outcome or a project outcome, etc. So therefore, having said about Bloom, remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. The future, COVID, now the assessment methods have changed. Conventional, classrooms and things like that have changed. So therefore, for remembering level, all of MCQ can be used. True and false matching, fill up the blanks, short answers. If you go to the understanding level, you need to go for animations, simulations, and tutorial. For application, in addition to MCQ, short answer, you can have essay type, tutorial, simulation, games, and case studies. And for the highest Bloom level, analyze, evaluate, create, possibly through project and all. In addition to MCQ, essay, project portfolio, presentation of the paper, virtual labs, case studies, these are all the tools that you can use as for assessment. So in nutshell, what I said is you can see a small dot, which is a vision. If you want to reach that, you have to have a mission, you have to have a POs, PSOs, and COs. This is what the total philosophy of your outcome-based education. Einstein, I started with Sir C.V. Raman. Einstein said, I quote, I never try to teach my student anything. I only try to create an environment where they can learn. So now in engineering, now with this, the online platform and all that, you have to create an environment where they can learn. And then you have to assess though. So therefore, the teachers normally are classified into 5 groups according to William. A mediocre teacher tells, he reads up, goes in the class, vomits. A good teacher explains. A perfect teacher demonstrates with examples, project-based, problem-based. A gifted teacher inspires. He doesn't teach like Einstein. He inspires them, motivates them to do. A modern teacher facilitates. Give enough. So I want all the VELAMMAL College of Engineering and all those who are attending my talk today, I want all of them to be in the 4th and 5th. A gifted teacher who inspires the student, a modern teacher who facilitates. There's a teacher, olden time. Of course, the students are very interesting. A crow, monkey, penguin, elephant, and so on. So he has a project and he has an assignment he gives to the student. The assignment is very simple, and also he writes the rubrics also. Very intelligent teacher. The assignment is simple, climbing the tree. All of you have to go and climb the tree. The rubrics, what he says in the beginning is, those who go to the top of the tree gets 5. Somewhere 75%, if you can climb, you get 4 marks. Those who cannot climb will get 1 mark. So at the end, monkey and crow, they go to the top and they get 5 out of 5. Penguin could manage only 3 because he could go only up to 5. And elephant, all of you know that slow learner, so he gets only 1 mark. Teacher, never demotivate. This is only one assignment that I have given. Then I'm going to give you next assignment next month. There, you will design an assignment where elephant can get 5 out of 5. That is the beauty of outcome-based education. So, in essence, there is a paradigm shift, huge shift from written exams to coursework, tutor-led assessment to student-led assessment. Implicit will all become explicit. Competitions will become collaborations. Product is a broader, will become process. Objectives, broader statements, will become outcomes. Content is again broad, will become competencies. I am good in AI, I am good in that kind of a thing that all of the students will be learning. Course assessment will become modular assessment. Advanced level, assessed prior learning. How much he has learned even before what come to the class. In an America, teacher, he has to put everything before he go to class. The student, will probe him. So that kind of a thing that we are achieving. So innovative teaching, as I just want to sum up, problem solving, Then open discussion, that's tutorial, it happens. Acquaintance with the real world case studies. Cooperative, I told you what the meaning of cooperative learning is. Project based learning, I did mention. So these are all the strategies that we call it as innovative. This is what education 4.0. It's not teacher centric, it is to student centric. So you have to be innovative in, they are all very smart. They will take your last year notes like Einstein and then maki kamaki, they write and they ask the marks. No, don't allow that. Of course, don't. The whole paper cannot be like that, but you can certainly do some of them. So finally, education should lead to 4 important components: knowledge, know-how, wisdom, and character. Knowledge, all of you know, to understand the basic principle of formal or non-formal. In a class, blended mode, outside, by discussion, they learn. But what is important for graduates is know-how, to do things rightly. That is what we have to prepare them. Wisdom, to set the priority. If there are 4, 5, which one should I do first? How do I prioritize? That is important. And lastly, the character, to make trustworthy and respectable member of the society. Self-esteem. I am a proud alumni of VELAMMAL College of Engineering. This is what all of you have to imbibe in education 4.0. So therefore, in the 21st century education, you have to be flexible, because already you have moved into online, offline, blended, and so on. So tailor-made curriculum, you have to keep on changing the curriculum also. In the new education policy envisages that. So therefore, all the teachers, need to shift to online and a blended learning. Assessment tools have changed. So we have considered some of the concept like flipped classroom, but in future, if the COVID continues, you may have to have split classroom, a 60 class of 60. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you may have to get 30 students, and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you may have to call other 30. So they learn online on 3 days, offline. So these are all what we call generally a split classroom. So use innovative pedagogy, enable the competencies. What for? I told you in the beginning, now industry 4.0 expectations are different. What do they expect? The student should think critically. So critical thinking is what you should all make them during their graduation. Problem solving, very important. Reasoning, creativity, imagination, innovation, entrepreneur. I think the 4 years that they stay with you, you must make sure that you prepare them in all these things. For which, definitely you need to adopt smart learning, LMS, which we call generally as learning management system. There are so many platforms that you have today: Google, G Suite, and whatever you have, Microsoft Teams also has come up with. So this LMS, I'm sure that the most of you must be using. So I skipped some of them just for want of time. I always feel that there is a trend, 9 trends. The 9 trends for future is diverse time, diverse place. Diverse place. I'm in Bangalore, you are there, wherever you are, in Chennai or at home or college. This is. Somebody may give a talk from USA in the morning, and then that that your time is evening. That's where now today the future learning is all about the diverse time and diverse place. Personalized learning. The artificial technology is very useful in identifying the slow learners, fast learners. So the teacher, their job is to see that, that's where the peer mentoring, peer instruction, pair, think, all these models we have to identify. That is what the trend of future is. Choice, free choice, not to the faculty, to the students. Most of the colleges that I visited, they say 4, but they eventually that only one of them is offered, but that is not a choice. Project based, all of you know the importance. Field experience, internship, both for both teachers as well as students. Data interpretation, extremely important in the context of industry 4.0. Exams I have written will change. I have already completely changed as in today. Student ownership, and mentoring will become more important. Mentoring, has a different connotation. So therefore, the 21st century learning paradigm shift you can see in this lifelong learning, personalized learning, networking, adaptive, flexible, creativity, soft skill, communication, and the AI technology. All the things that I've spoken so far, these are all embedded in this single slide. So moving on, the ACT platforms are there. All of you are very familiar. There is a platform called ATAL, ACT Teaching and Learning. Those are the days have gone where we used to travel 2 days to Delhi and then go and attend winter school and summer school in 1980s. Today, you can be there wherever you are. You can learn through online. ARPIT is another platform that you are all familiar with in ACT, annual refresher program in technology. Choose of your choice in the domain and learn. NEET is another platform which is coming up, which is National Education Alliance for Technical Education, where industries have come forward to give their tools, invest money, so that government colleges are given free, and then other colleges they want to charge some 25% of it. So these virtual labs have been being created. Swayam platform, Swayam Prabha, Smart India Hackathon, Singapore Hackathon, Margadarshan, some of these platforms are all there. So virtual lab, now either to whatever I said so far is all takes care of your conventional teaching. The most challenge that you face in engineering is doing experiments. So therefore, IITs and College of Engineering, Pune, and some of the good institutions in the country, they have come forward and created a virtual lab, www.vlab.co.in. So what I request all of you to do is to go and map whatever the experiment that you have in your curriculum with those, and experiments which are not there, possibly you can ask a couple of students to come to college with all social distancing, ask them to perform. While performing, you record it. Why not? They should, like a lecture recording, practical that they do, they should keep talking, record it, and share with all others. Thereby, the college also can create their virtual labs. So moving on, the 10 skills which are relevant to the industry: complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, very important, and emotional intelligence, service orientation, negotiation, and cognitive. A fellow who joins the job will, is not sure, like us, he will be there for 40 years or 35 years in one institution. So therefore, this is what cognitive faculty for a teacher is: to change the curriculum, blended mode, and the people whom you train, when they go to a job, they have to be ready to change their job, their mindset, because they're not sure that they will be in a single job. So last part of my talk, let me say a few words about technology. I wrote an equation I equal T plus IT equal to IT. You know that mathematically it is not correct. What I meant by IT plus IT equal to IT is information technology yesterday plus information technology today equal to the information technology tomorrow. That's where you see 1G, 2G, 4G, these technologies are changing so fast. So in 2000, we had information technology boom, and later biotechnology. Today, we are in COVID, we need vaccines. So therefore, people are working. Like Bangalore, there is one company called Biocon, Kiran Majumdar. So bioinformatics, geoinformatics, all our satellites are gathering information across the globe, across the country, to improve the remote sensing satellites are doing. So today's research is tomorrow's technology. Technology, particularly in India, you look at it, we have issues with agriculture, health, drug delivery, infrastructure, climate change. So therefore, you need sensors, smart sensors, for instance. So I told you that is all IoTs, Internet of Things. Suppose you go to your office and forgot to switch off something, you can do that sitting there in your office. They're all possible because of today's communication capabilities. So just if you name a few, the technologies: artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, robotics, cybersecurity, data science, quantum computing, 3D printing and design, blockchain, augmented reality, virtual reality. So therefore, let me spend last 5 minutes before open up for discussion. Future technologies, they are in these 8, namely artificial intelligence. As all of you know today, it plays a major role in education. Personalized learning or teaching can be tracked through AI. The second thing that you can do is proctor system, we call it. Examinations through proctor can be done through using AI. You go to medical field, AI is used both for diagnosis as well as even for the cure. Surgery, they are using AI based robots. And diagnosis, of course, MRI, so many, data, and you need huge data crunching is to be done. So therefore, it has a very high potential in the next years to come. So my students can be given a project in this area. That is the reason why I'm showing all of you these things. Blockchain is an engineering and management. Everything is e-commerce and everything is e-transactions today. So therefore, blockchain plays a major role. Genetic testing, if you have biotechnology and biochemistry, where each gene is, all 135 crore people have got different RNA, DNA. So there is a huge potential in working in this area. 3D printing is also known as additive manufacturing. So it across the boundary. It's not just for mechanical. People from mechanical, electronics, electrical, everybody can come together. This technology, what I'm speaking, is across. There are no boundaries. Civil engineering also can get into 3D. Augmented virtual reality. All of you know, IIT Madras about a month ago had a wonderful virtual convocation where they use AR, VR, where student and the director of the institute, without physically the student being there, gave the gold medal. This is, an experiment can be conducted in virtual reality. Autonomous vehicle is another area, driverless, more so on your batteries. Electric vehicles will be on the road in the next 5 years. There may not be any petrol. There may not be any diesel. Car, even buses of electric type will come. So huge potential for student to take up autonomous. Hyperloop, you must have seen. In about a month ago, I read in Japan, 500 kilometers they could go in just 10 minutes. This is what being done even in India, in Pune. Somebody was tested the Hyperloop underground where there. Lastly, smart city, fantastic opportunity for engineers, be it civil. Lot of infrastructural work is going on in the country. For electrical, electronics, even IT, computer science, communications are very important in the smart city project. So therefore, every engineer has got a potential things to do in this. So future India, earlier we had made in India product with label made in India locally, but now it is make in India. Get the foreign investment. Job is for our people. Make money, give part of the thing to others. This is what going to be the future. Digitize. This requires a digitization. So we are already in the digital India. Digital infrastructures have been there. Every citizen has been empowered. E-governance, everything is happening. Even if your money, hardly people are going for bank. Hardly people are going to hospitals. Everything is now possible. So I try to give you a global picture of what good learning is, what is a good assessment is, what are the strategies that you can do for teaching, what are the strategies, a good assessment tool that you can use, how do you adapt yourself for online exams, how do you adapt your formative assessment tools, how to write, how to practice the OBE, and also the technology that are available today, how does it help you in conducting the labs and using for your conventional teaching, etc. And lastly, I try to give you some glimpses of the technologies, tools that are available in AICT site, as well as the technology where our students can be given project. So therefore, to achieve this quality of education in India, we need to work together, collaborate with each other, tolerate the differences. respect the diverse views, because none of us is as smart as all of us. So I'm sure that all of us can make a great India, innovative India. So thank you all for your patience hearing. Now it is over to the MCs for further, if they have any questions to ask, queries, suggestions, I'm more than happy to answer. Over to MC.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.